you envious of? Not in a bad, I wish I had that car sort of way. Who is it that you would like to be like? What sort of person heads up that list? What about the people around us? Who do they say they wish they were like? A few years ago, I'm pretty sure people would have said people like Tiger Woods or his wife. Now though, perhaps even more guys would like to be like Tiger Woods. Not many girls would be happy to be his wife. I've lost count of the number of times I've heard people say, I wish I was pretty like her. Or wouldn't it be great to have that much money? If I was that guy, I'd really look after my wife and not treat her like that. If I was a rock star, it'd be so great. What troubles me is that I hear Christians saying this sometimes as well. Is that going?
Yes.
Good. Just edit that bit out. What worries me is that I hear sometimes Christians saying these sorts of things. Now that's troubling not just because of the rank materialism that it may represent, but because of a deep-seated dissatisfaction with who we are. And not in the, I wish I wasn't so sinful sort, which I'm happy to hear. No, this is with being dissatisfied with the very substance of who we are. Let me take this from a different tact. How do you get fulfilled? How do you make yourself happy? How do you get on a list on the internet of people that I wish I was like? What do you think? What do you think? You actually speak at this point. Any ideas?
Be wealthy.
Being wealthy?
Famous.
Famous?
Hmm?
There you go.
Being talented.
Being talented? Yeah. Or Justin Bieber? I mean, you know. Or, like you said.
Having an iPhone.
See,
Yes.
See, Christians have a different list of what they would like to be like compared to the non-Christians. So the non-Christians, to be envied among them, things like I'm rich, or I've got a beautiful wife, or money, or looks, relationships, security. Those are the things that make them happy. And having lots of that makes other people say, I wish I was like him or her. Non-Christians have those lists. Did I say Christians? I meant non-Christians. Non-Christians would be saying those sorts of things. Christians, I would hope, would know that there is more to this life than just this life. This life is temporary, fleeting, and destined to end. The next life is where it's at. Well, now, why am I asking all these things? Tonight we're looking at the passage which is commonly known as the Beatitudes. The Beatitudes are a series of statements saying, blessed are these people for this reason. Now let me ask you another question. Why does Jesus give a reason for their apparent blessing? Anyone got any idea why Jesus says, blessed are these people?
They're not exactly the people that you would normally say, yay,
Yeah.
yay, I want to be more of morning, yay, I want to be weak.
That's exactly right. If someone says, I'm going to tell you this in love, it shouldn't need a warning. I'm going to tell you this in love means I'm going to tell you something that's going to hurt. And when Jesus says, blessed are these people, he says that because most people look at them and go, gee, I'm glad I'm not like that person. That would really stink. So what's it mean to be blessed? Anyone? Lots of questions tonight. Sunday night, man. Give us a rest. To be blessed is to be an object of envy. If DV was blessed, right, then that is people going, I wish I was like DV. I wish I was so cool like him and had a haircut like him. Or whatever. Had secretly kissing, whatever. But before we get into it, come back to chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Jesus saw the crowds who followed him, and he went up the mountain. That's why this is called the Sermon on the Mount, by the way. The series of teaching goes from here to the end of chapter 7. After he sat down, his disciples came to him. Okay? Now look at who Jesus says are the objects of envy. The poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, the persecuted. Now none of these jump out to us and say, "Ooh, pick me. You really want to be like me. You really, really want to be persecuted." Do you? I mean, I know we're all supposed to be pure in heart, but who wants to be like those who mourn, those who hunger for righteousness? In fact, it's not simply that they are this way that is the reason why they are blessed. No, they are blessed because of the result of who they are. Okay, read with me. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Why are the poor in spirit blessed? Because they will receive the kingdom of heaven. What does it mean to be poor in spirit? So just notice that. It's not being poor in spirit that makes everyone think, wow. It's because you receive the kingdom of heaven. And people go, ah. Okay? What does it mean to be the poor in spirit? This was the toughest one for me to go through. I could work everything else out. But the poor in spirit is like the new Israel. These guys who are spiritually dispossessed. They've been kicked around. They know that they have no standing to demand entry into heaven. They're not standing there saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm so cool. I'm so blessed. I'm so rich." No, they're saying, "I have nothing to offer. It's all of God." And what do they receive? Heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. This isn't just about your best friend dying, or failing your subjects, or getting a bad ATAR. This is about mourning for Israel, mourning the state of the people of God, mourning the state of the nation. Blessed are the meek or the gentle. Now this is a stark contrast to the leadership of the time. Okay, you might remember Mark chapter 10. Jesus points out the disciples are to be different to those around them. He says, the Gentiles, they lead this way and they're harsh. You are to be different. You are to be gentle. And those who thirst and hunger for righteousness, it doesn't mean the Pharisees. It doesn't mean the people who are standing there and, "I can't believe the wickedness of these people. I wish something would be done about them." Rather, it's the people who are seeking justice, but don't get it. They're seeking righteousness for what they have done, but they're not seeing it. And in fact, these are the people who are being persecuted by the Pharisees and giving them a hard time. The Pharisees are giving them a hard time. Blessed are the merciful. That's the weak, isn't it? That's the people who aren't strong enough to force their will, isn't it? Wrong. Merciful people receive what they give, which is mercy. They're being like God is. Again, the pure in heart, the peacemakers. Who wants to be like them? Who really wants to be the peacemakers? Aren't the peacemakers, again, the weak ones? The ones saying, no, don't fight about this. For us today, we are polite enough to say that's what people should want. But in the first century, no one wanted to make peace unless they were losing. And for the pure in heart, well, if you want to be pure in heart, well, that's up to you, isn't it? Finally, blessed are the people who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Why? Because they get near. Now, let me give you a little bit of detail. There is a literary device called an inclusio. An inclusio is when a passage begins and ends with a very similar, if not identical, saying. Can anyone see an inclusio in our passage? It's the writer's way of saying the section starts here and it ends there. Anyone?
Kingdom of God.
Yes, the kingdom of heaven. Verses 3 and verses 10. Now, when you're reading it, you want it to go to verse 12, don't you?